Have you ever been told you're low on vitamin D and then just got a prescription with no real long-term game plan? Yeah, it happens all the time. Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive deep into some scientifically backed, all-natural solutions to help you finally conquer that vitamin D deficiency for good.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a number that might actually shock you. In a country like India, which is drenched in sun, 1 out of every 2 people is deficient in vitamin D. You heard that right, half the population. It's a massive number, and it really shows you just how urgent and widespread this whole problem is.
So the big question is, why, right? How can this be so common when the sun is literally shining all the time? Well, it really comes down to our modern lifestyles. Think about it. We spend way more time indoors, we sit behind glass windows that actually block the right kind of UVB rays, and when we do go outside, we're usually covered in sunscreen. All of this stops our skin from doing its job, soaking up the sun it needs to make vitamin D.
So, to get a handle on this, we've put together a complete roadmap. First, we'll get a grip on this silent epidemic in India. Then, we'll walk through 5 foolproof natural remedies. We're also going to cover the right way to take supplements, bust some common myths, help you spot the hidden signs of deficiency, and then finally, pull it all together into your new action plan.
First up, let's talk about the real scale of this thing. This isn't just some minor health issue. It's what you'd call a silent epidemic. And it's silent because millions of people are dealing with symptoms they might never connect to vitamin D. Things like weak bones, getting sick all the time, nagging joint pain, and even weight gain that you just can't explain.
Okay, so what's the goal here? What numbers should we be shooting for? Well, the science on this is pretty clear. A really healthy and optimal target for your vitamin D level is right there between 50 and 60 nanograms per milliliter. This gives us a solid, tangible number to work towards.
All right, now for the main event. 5 powerful, scientifically proven natural remedies. These are things you can literally start doing today to boost your vitamin D levels the natural way, without just relying on pills.
First on the list is something I call the mushroom sun charging technique. And the science behind this is so cool. You see, mushrooms have this compound called ergosterol. And when you put them out in direct sunlight, that ergosterol actually converts into vitamin D2. So by sun-drying them and then using that same water to cook with, you're making sure you get every last bit of that new vitamin.
Remedy number 2 is super simple. You're going to love it. A sesame oil massage paired with some controlled sun time. The trick here is to focus on the biggest parts of your body, your stomach and your back. Just 10 to 15 minutes of sun on each side, just twice a week, is all it takes to kickstart your body's own natural vitamin D factory.
Next up, we've got drumstick leaf soup, or sahan. This stuff is actually a WHO-recognized superfood, and for a really good reason. The leaves don't just have vitamin D naturally, they're also loaded with vitamins A, C, and iron. It's so easy to make, and it's a fantastic daily habit to get into.
Okay, remedy number 4 might actually surprise you. Sour buttermilk. Now here's the key thing to understand. Buttermilk itself doesn't really have any vitamin D. Its magic is all about absorption. See, vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. That sour, fermented buttermilk has both the fat and the probiotics needed to wake up your intestines, which can boost your vitamin D absorption by 30 to 40%. The sweet or fat-free kinds, they just don't do the same job.
And our final natural remedy is solarized water. The idea here is all about harnessing the sun's energy. You know how sunlight creates a chemical reaction in our skin to make vitamin D? Well, this traditional practice suggests that exposing water to sunlight can change its properties in a beneficial way. Just follow these simple steps: glass bottle, wooden base, peak sun, and you've got energized water to drink the next day.
Now look, if your levels are really, really low, your doctor is probably going to recommend supplements. But just popping a pill isn't the whole story. To really get the most out of them, you've got to fine-tune your approach. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about now.
So here are 3 pro tips to make those supplements really work for you. First, vitamin D doesn't work alone. It needs partners, so always take it with cofactors like calcium and magnesium. Second, and this is a big one, since it's fat-soluble, never take it on an empty stomach. Always have it with a meal that has a little bit of fat. And third, to really maximize absorption, try to drink a little less water for about 30 minutes after you take it.
There is so much confusing information out there about vitamin D, so let's just take a minute to separate the facts from the fiction and bust some of the biggest myths that might be holding you back.
The number 1 myth is that vitamin D is just about your bones. And yeah, bone health is super important, but that is just scratching the surface.
The truth is, vitamin D is an essential hormone that plays a huge role in your immune system, your brain function, and your entire hormonal balance. When your levels are low, it's directly linked to things like anxiety, mood swings, and just not being able to focus.
Here's another really common myth, that a standard vegetarian diet with dal, rice, and veggies will give you all the vitamin D you need. I'm sorry to say, that's just not true. Most plant-based foods have pretty much zero vitamin D, which really helps explain why deficiency is so high among vegetarians. The only major food sources are fatty fish and, of course, our sun-charged mushrooms.
You know, sometimes our bodies send out these little quiet signals that we just tend to brush off. So let's look at some of the more subtle, hidden signs of a vitamin D deficiency. Just see if any of these sound familiar to you.
So do you feel just exhausted or super sleepy every single evening? Have you noticed your hair getting thinner, especially right on the top of your head? What about an irregular heartbeat, or frequent stomach issues, or even just a feeling of heaviness when you take a breath? These are all lesser known, but very real, signs that your vitamin D levels could be way too low.
All right, we have covered the problem, the solutions, and the myths. Now it's time to put it all together. Let's wrap up everything we've learned into a really powerful, simple action plan that you can get started on today. Here it is, your 5-point power plan. Start practicing that mushroom sun charging technique. Bring in the sesame oil massage with a bit of sun twice a week. Make a daily cup of drumstick leaf soup your new go-to habit. Always, always choose sour buttermilk to help with absorption. And finally, prepare and drink that solarized water. This is your toolkit. This is how you take control. So, we've laid out the entire blueprint for you to conquer vitamin D deficiency the natural way. You have the knowledge, you have the tools, so really the only question left is this: which one of these powerful remedies are you going to start with today?